So the next item on the agenda is the draft FFY 2025 Unified Planning Work Program, or UPWP. This was presented last month for the public who doesn't know what is the UPWP. It's essentially our work program. It's fairly required that we outline the program tasks that we undertake or transportation planning activities that we undertake in a given fiscal year. It includes administrative, data collection, planning activities, and implementation activities. There is some direct cost budget that's provided through that program, and this year it'll be $22,702.28 that will cover travel, equipment, and some professional services throughout the fiscal year. Here's a large table that breaks down the various tasks by hours and operating expenses. The total value of the UPWP for 2025 is about $330,000. That funds planning activities that include strategies that limit single occupancy use, a process that was getting a little bit more traction in recent weeks is development of a traffic model for the islands. You're all very aware of the ongoing safety action plan that we provided an update on last month, and we still have activities going on for finalizing the safety action plan in coordination with the Martha's Vineyard and Franklin County regions. Tasks for parking management and complete streets activities. And there's a variety of implementation activities that are ongoing that include grant management of federal grants that we do receive. We did not receive very much public comments on the UPWP. Only 3 comments or participation in the survey. We had 2 positive comments or support for the tasks that are included in the UPWP, 1 negative response, but I think that might have been an error because it was we do have our strategies to limit single occupancy vehicle use. The negative was that single occupancy use was bad for the islands, which I think we all agree with, and we're actually developing our task. So I think we might have had all positive feedback from the public on that. But again, very, very small, but very typical, judging from years past on public participation in the UPWP. We did have the public review period from the end of May through this meeting today on June 24th. Participation was solicited through the Zen City website. Based on the comments that we received from the public and the edits that we received from Mass DOT, staff is requesting that the NP&EDC take action to close the public review period and approve the FY 2025 Unified Planning Work Program. And Mr. Chair, we do have the comments that we did receive from the public provided in the packet, and the draft UPWP is provided in the packet as well. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Mike?
Yeah, not a question per se, but thank you, Mike. And I just want to respond a little bit to the comment about single-use occupancy. And I want to remind everybody about, the ongoing projects that we have going on with the battery electric buses and the fare free for those buses. And in my opinion, these 2 changes are some of the best things that Nantucket has ever done in its entire history of existing. And maybe I'm biased because the bus stop's right outside my driveway and I can take it into town instead of parking there. But in the past, I had been a user of the bus and I saw relatively limited occupancy. And now on any day, even in the middle of the week at a random time, buses are completely full and there's people waiting at the Greenhound. So I think, it's not necessarily for the UPWP only, but I think we definitely, Mike and everyone here, need to develop strategies to turn that pilot program into a permanent solution for the island that happens in all months on all routes. I just like to say that while we're in the transportation planning update, that is critical for Nantucket. So thank you.
Mike, can I just ask a question to follow up with Seth was said? What is the timeline, if at all, for the chargers downtown along that little strip there that they're supposed to do? Is that probably probably working okay now, what they're doing with those electric buses running them mid-island. So they don't have an issue because they're not charging them downtown. Is that kind of what's going on?
Correct. I think once they get to the end of their charge, they switch out the equipment. I can't comment too much on that. I don't know the inner workings of that. I'm sure we can have Gary come on at the next meeting and provide a little bit more description of that. As far as charging at Greenhound, I think that's a project that's not going to start this summer. It'll probably be more of
I kind of figured that would be able to happen. I mean, it's just too much to do that fast. Okay.
Can I just add, it'd be great if Gary come just
Sorry, I'm sorry. It's
yeah, I know. Yeah. I was just thinking it'd be great to see the data, like how many, like if the ridership is up so much as Seth is witnessing and,
I actually noticed what you just said.
Yeah.
Like I drive a lot and I noticed a lot now that there's a lot of people getting on. I don't know what bus they're getting on. I don't know if they're going to the beach. It doesn't look like they're going to the beach. There's just a lot of people. And
yeah, I think the free is terrific.
It's just easier to do.
If we're driving too much demand now, we're gonna need, and I know the budget can't grow more than a little bit, right? So
yeah, I mean,
it's gonna be a balance.
I think this is a big step to the next year.
Yeah.
Really, that's how I kind of see it. So
Yeah, I just am aware that October isn't that far away, and the pilot program of state funding is only through then. And we need to really have these conversations now about how we can make this sustainable for the future.
Yeah, I would,
Don.
Yeah,
Sorry, Don. Sorry, Don, can you?
Go ahead.
You want to?
I was just gonna say, I would suggest that you invite Gary to your next meeting.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen the numbers, but I've already heard for May, they will weigh.
Yeah.
And it's great, and I 1000% agree that we need to make it permanent. The big debate is, do we make it permanent by funding it through paid parking? Which was the original plan,
Yeah.
there's been so much opposition to paid parking. So we need to talk about that a little
That's
bit and
a
whether
whole
we
nother
fund it a
conversation.
different
That's-
way.
I see that as.
But
Good direct
irregular
use.
bus service and now free bus service are the biggest strides we've made in dealing with the traffic
I mean,
situation.
and getting him on, he knows what he's talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
He has a good
He's
way
really
of
good.
speaking. Doing a great job.
You should invite him to the next meeting.
I think, I think there'll be some way to make paying a nominal fee really easy at some point where it's not people fumbling around with cash, all that kind of stuff, confusion, whatever. So I'm not saying that that's gonna happen, or I'm just saying at some point that may end up being normal, So anyway, John.
no, I just wanted to follow up on something Seth said about, this being one of the biggest things that we've seen on the island. I absolutely agree with that. And to me, it's one of those things when you drive past the downtown parking, not where the buses are, you only have to look at it and see this is the new world and that's the old. When you look at the two different vehicles, and it's almost like you don't need a lot of stuff to back that up. It's just, this is what the future looks like. And we're lucky to have Gary that sort of so quickly taken us there. So good job by everybody, man.
I mean, it's, as I said before, numerous times, the airport's in town. No one ever knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're always struggling with the parking, the boat. It's like separate entity issues and the 2FG lot shuttle to that. I mean, it's just so many moving parts, but to see this happening is really good for regardless of anything else that's not improved.
Yeah, if I may, Don, I hear what you're saying about the payment mechanism and the funding support for that. And I think that there is so many ways to fund this program, especially because we adopted the battery electric buses. There's probably, a lot of like resiliency money and climate change money out there that we could apply for, or the state might just be willing to continue this program in the future when they see the occupancy numbers, but we can wait for Gary to talk about that. I think I think if it comes down to spending money from a parking source, if we have to do that, we have to do that, but I think there's probably 3 or 4 other much easier funding mechanisms before we even have to consider that. So, let's just let the people who know what they're talking about figure out the funding.
Yeah, I was just thinking it might be helpful.
Yeah.
If this board gave, some feedback to the select board, because we've kind of been on that track, and I'm not sure that kind of comes to a screeching halt at a certain point. And I'm not sure that how much more energy we should be putting into paid parking right now.
Be nice to have something that's already in place, financing something to do with this, with the subsidizing part of it, or whatever the case may be, whether it's the embarkation fee, something that's already in place, instead of some brand new thing that costs a fortune.
But all that money's already.
I know where that money goes.
Everywhere.
I just brought it up just for fun. It's been about 10 years since I brought that up.
We're trying to increase it at the heart.
So anyway, Mike, you're looking for a motion to close the 21-day period, right?
Yes, Mr. Chair, close the public review period and approve the FY25 UPWP.
Okay,
So moved.
is there a second?
Second,
Second by John, motion made by Don. All those in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Joe, aye. John,
aye.
Seth,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Christina,
Aye.
Wendy,
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
the chair votes aye. Thank you, Mike, so much for all that complicated stuff that you do.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, if
Bill
it's
Don.
okay,
Sure.
this was in the packet, but not necessarily on the agenda, but I just want to let the commission know that Mass DOT is having a capital investment plan public meeting this Thursday at 4 o'clock. And if you'd like to participate, you could register it's a very simple web address, mass.gov/CIP. If you want to learn a little bit more about statewide investments, and that does include the bridges, it does include MBTA and a lot of statewide initiatives. So just FYI for you all and for the public who might be watching this meeting. So thanks for letting me share that.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Next up is the NOAA discussion. Leslie.
So just to update the commission from the last meeting, there's been a lot of activity surrounding, the right whale vessel strike reduction rule. A lot of meetings have taken place. Matt and I attended the consultation for the NP&EDC today. I think that went well. We invited Peter Burke from the chamber to join us. I've uploaded a lot of letters that I've received, just during the course of this, to the website where we registered for a consultation to have those as supporting documents. So that's all done. And I'm working with town administration, with their consultants, to get an economic impact report from UMass Donahue Institute. There's a contract on the select board's agenda for Wednesday, and hopefully we'll have some information on that by the end of August, and maybe some more in-depth information after that. Hopefully it's in time. But I heard today that there's some additional movement to delay this rule from going into effect. So, but, it's still playing out, but I've very much been involved with a whole team of people, throughout town government, Manchester County Hospital, Steamship Authority, Byline, Chamber, and then some consultants to reach out and do whatever we can do to save our opposition. So.
All right, can I comment a little bit and then I just want to mention Peter Burke just real quick. That guy did a great job today. I'm impressed with him. He said things that I wish I thought of. Because what happens with these conversations is everybody's trying to say the same thing differently. We all know what's wrong with this. It's like you can check off about 15 things But you gotta say it a different way than the guy that just spoke before, right? Well, he came up with something today that was, I have not heard anyone say, it's like, almost like severing the electric cable. That was good. And those people were listening, even though we couldn't see them. I could tell that they were definitely listening to us. So, because they probably all now know that Nantucket isn't just summer only, Northern Caribbean, no one's there in the winter. I mean, it's amazing. I don't believe they really understand what goes on over here. So I just wanted to say, give him a little plug. He did a really good job today. So anybody have any comments on this topic? Okay. Articles of planning concern. And when you say planning concern, when we write that, that means commission. Which is different, and we normally don't have a comment on the warrant from this commission, but we can, and sometimes it's a comment for the select board's comment.
Wait.
So,
And
so,
typically
We
we'll
do.
provide the recommendation to the finance committee.
correct, okay, well, either way, depending upon what the article is. So,
So.
you want to start that?
I will. So there are 5 citizen petition articles that we've identified that may be of interest to the commission. There are not any zoning articles on this list because that's something that the planning board will deal with. Those are all short-term rental articles for the most part. I think you all may know that there was a sort of a select board subcommittee put together to try to come up with a compromise for the 3 citizen petition articles to deal with short-term rentals, and that's still in the works. It's still like board's adoption on Wednesday, but that's just so you all know what's going on. So I'm going to talk about 4 of the 5 articles, and then I'm recusing from the discussion about 13 of them. So for sewer map change at 44 Skyline, generally sewer map changes, I think, are something that the commission doesn't comment on, but in this case, this area is where a lot of the PFAS work has been taking place with the extension of water services. I know from the sewer director, there's a concern about a plume. They're doing a lot of heavy excavation work. So we have recommended that that the commission support the sewer extension for 44 Skyline and 42 Montahanset. Also at 42 Montahanset, there's a religious institution operating out of that site under a tent right now. They use porta potties. So I think, constructing a facility with connection to sewer would be good for public health as well. The other article, 81 Washington Street. That one we thought maybe a planning commission concern because the petitioner is requesting that the select board purchase, or the town of Nantucket purchase the building and then retain senior services there in perpetuity, and that may be something that's contrary to planning. We've talked about some coastal resiliency stuff there, possible parking, possible roadway improvements. So, committing to the senior center wing in that location may not be the best for long-term planning. And then the act to amend the enabling legislation, which is something you all may want to talk about. There's one minor change, Ms. Raytor is here, maybe she wants to present that to you. But this is an article that you did not support in the past, that you know. Megan, I think she maybe go over, we're going to have a conflict on after we finish this.
You want to do the conflict one now?
Let's
First?
do that last.
Okay,
I can comment.
I can too, and I know you have a lot to say, and I was gonna actually ask you to give a kind of a little 5-year, 6-year, and who owns what, and all that stuff, because it is a little confusing. So do you want to talk about 44 Skyline now? Or do you want to talk about the 81? What do you want to talk about? The Skyline one is sort of, just We just did something with a paper street for the drainage of 11th Lane over there too. So I mean, there's a lot of things going on in that area kind of that are important for not because somebody's trying to build more houses. It's
That will
because,
get its sewer rating.
what was
It
that?
will get its sewer rating review as well.
Yeah,
Whether that will determine whether it's going to require a majority of 2/3.
And I'm on the sewer rating review committee and we're waiting on some more information on this one.
okay. So do you want to take a vote on this?
Yeah.
As, you know, just as a recommendation? And just go to the next one? Do you want to do it like that? Okay. So does anyone else have any comments about 44 Skyline? Before we go to a vote? Okay, so I'll accept the motion to, are we gonna do positive or are we gonna do support? What words are we using?
Usually you use support.
Support, okay. Sometimes they change. So I'll accept the motion to support the sewer map change for 44 Skyline.
So moved.
Second? Second, motion made by John, seconded by Joe. Dave? Wherever you are. You're not out to dinner yet, are you?
I am voting no on that.
Okay. Joe? Aye. John?
Aye.
Seth?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Dawn?
I'm gonna abstain because I'll have another crack at it.
Okay. And Bear, myself, chair votes aye, sorry. Okay. We got all that, Lane, sorry. Okay, we'll go to. What are we, oh, I see what we got here. So the sewer map change for 42 Montahanset, same thing
Same thing.
for the most part. We all know what this is. This used to be. Oh, I know what house it was. It's out of the safe place. So do we all know what parcel we're talking about on the right? When you come from both sides? Okay. Anyone have any comments on this? Before we go to the same motion? The support? Anyone wants to make that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion made by John, seconded by Seth. Dave,
Nay.
Joe. Aye. John,
Aye.
Seth,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Christina,
Aye.
Wendy,
Aye.
Dawn,
Abstain.
and I vote aye. Dave's going in the porta potty business. Okay, the next item is the legislation that's being put back on the warrant. Is that going on this coming warrant? Okay. I didn't. All right, anyone have any comments that are on this discussion?
Could we, was there an agenda?
Yeah, you can go ahead,
Yeah, thanks.
Hillary. I'm just saying, you know,
Oh, sure, I just wanted to
No,
indicate
go
I
ahead.
wanted to make comment. I put this back on the warrant, to give the voters another opportunity to show stronger support. It was pretty clear that, the state wanted to see more definitive support for these ideas before they took any action, even though it did pass. And so this is an opportunity for people to either, support it or decide that they don't want to support it, be it as it may. I did feel that, potentially there were some folks in 2023 who didn't support it because there was a very strong message from this commission. Multiple members of this commission spoke on town meeting floor saying that you were working on your own version of legislation and that you'd be bringing that forward at the next regular town meeting. And it hasn't happened. And when I watched the last meeting of this commission, there was discussion about, well, will we put something on the warrant for special town meeting? and it seemed like that might be unlikely because of all the other things you're working on. So I put it back on the warrant because I think that, that there is a need for some change and reform, and I didn't want it to go away. But I did want to be responsive to some of the things that I've heard this commission. I mean, I do attend your meetings, and I do often, they've all been on Zoom today. I mean, except for the last one, but the ones discussing this have been on Zoom. And I do put my hand up. But I have heard concern about the term limits. So I did propose one change, which is that instead of a strict 9-year term limit, which would be three-year terms, or 9 1-year terms, it's non-consecutive. So after you've served 9 consecutive years, you have to take a year off. And I sourced that idea from other boards and commissions. For example, the Cultural Council works that way. Mass Cultural Council, the enabling legislation and the general law calls for consecutive years, and then you have to take it off. So that's the one change. And again, I hope that we can have a discussion about a compromise, for example, a compromise that we all might be excited about, that the voters might also be very excited about, and the state might be excited about. And that's a discussion for the future.
Thank you, Hillary. I can talk all night, and I've been told not to. But I can certainly talk about this a lot. Does anyone have any comments about this particular issue